So today I want to talk about some of my strategies for planning bioart exhibits in galleries in museums. My number one bit of advice is plan in advance. Open tape.
Oh, you're fine. You look great. Oh, we should have kept, did these come in rolls?
First thing is communication. Plan and communicate in advance with the gallery about what biological components you want to bring into their space. Give them a technical rider that describes everything you will bring with you and what the requirements are for taking care of it, for disposing of it, and what to do if something goes wrong. Be flexible and gauge their comfort levels. You might have to add or remove some items from the exhibit based on what they're comfortable with. Other items. Megan, I'm going to get you to test the shelves on the wall today. Number 2, testing. Test and test and test in advance. Do not commit to an exhibit that you have not figured out how the biological component will work first. Quite often, our non-human collaborators do not do the things that we want for them to do for us. Number 3, low tech is awesome. Consider doing kitchen, bathroom, food, and garden grade biological components in your exhibition. There's far less regulations of those living organisms than there are of organisms that are intended for lab use.
I think everything's been cut out. Hadia will probably be coming in today or tomorrow to drop off the last of the collage material.
I'm a little worried about taking things on the plane with me. Normally I would take it in my luggage, but I don't think it's guaranteed that it'll make it in time. Partner with local scientific organizations. They can do a health and safety and biosafety assessment of the exhibition. They can calm the concerns of the gallery, and they can do bio-waste disposal at the end of your exhibit. Consider off-site or alternative formats, projects that happen outdoors, in scientific environments, virtually, or a field trip is a great way to bring biological components into your artwork without bringing them into the gallery. Installing bioart. It's better to install it yourself, but if you absolutely have to, plan in advance with a specialist who will install it on site for you. The algae.
Well, I think it's stuck at customs right now.
Claudia got in touch with me. I sent her the purchase order so they could see what was inside. Shipping biological artworks. I don't recommend shipping biological artworks, especially do not ship them across international borders. I will exhibit anything that I can drive personally to the gallery, and if that's not possible, I order directly from the scientific supplier to have the living organism delivered to the gallery and I grow it there. That way you encounter a lot less troubles. Okay, I'm gonna make that phone call. I think that's everything.
Let's do it.
I love streaming. I forgot over there. And then maybe to the back. Just go back. The algae rider Portugal! All right, I think that's everything, Dom. See you there.
Have a safe flight.
We are here. We've just arrived to Windsor.
Is this like the right place?
my name is Marta. I am the director, president, artistic director, programmer, curator, mentor, as you said, mental support, crutch, and
Anything else in between?
mother of the team occasionally. And this is our new space. We've been here for a year at Ectopia, and this is also my studio. And I have to say I'm really happy to be able to welcome Jennifer Willet into a solo show at Ectopia.
So this is stop number 2 of When Microbes Dream. It's a solo exhibition that is traveling across Europe right now. It opened in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, at Kapelica Gallery in October 2021. And now we are at Ectopia in Lisbon, Portugal in 2022.
Okay, so FEMeeting is a community, a network of women in art, science and technology that started in 2018 in the south of Portugal in Cultivamos Cultura. And it was a surprise for us, but also a very meaningful surprise, the impact that the whole event had on our lives. Sprouting of this very tight-knit community of women around the world, trying to help each other and trying to support each other. It was our pleasure and our honor to have our combined network of women in art, science and technology congregate in one place. Jennifer Willet is a very close friend of mine, but also a very important part of this community of women. So it is very important for us, Ectopia, for me personally, as a friend, to have Jennifer Willet's exhibition here and be able to show it to the community as well, to connect to the lab and to her own studio. So it's very meaningful and incredibly important for me to be able to host her exhibition. Of course, it would always be important, but to be able to make it coincide with the opening of FEMeeting and allow for all of the women to share. I think community is about sharing difficult moments, but also about sharing successes. And this is definitely a share of a success. The size, the potential sizes for
You're so excited. Because it got lost in US and then Portuguese customs, so it did not make it here in 2 days, it made it here in a week. And I can see that the customs officers in the United States have been in my package. I always leave a note inside of the package that tells them exactly what's inside, and I put my business card on it because I think it makes me look more official. And as you can see, it worked. They had a quick peek, read my note, and they sent it on. In Canada, they're having challenges where they're losing all the luggage right now for international flights. So normally I would pack this all in a second suitcase and I would just pay for it to come on the flight. But we got really worried that it wouldn't make it here at all. So we shipped the most important parts FedEx, and it costs like $1,000. This is the site-specific component of the work for this show. And I was really concerned that it was not going to make it here on time, but it did. Now, it's gonna take 10 hours, I don't know, maybe, to put it all on the wall. The difference of this exhibition is the space, first of all, is very different. The first space it exhibited in was a black box, so everything had very dramatic chiaroscuro lighting, whereas this is a white space. And this is also a hybrid space. It's a laboratory and a working office and a gallery, so it has very interesting attributes. The last thing that's different that I've changed is that I'm doing a different incarnation of the title project called When Microbes Dream. This is a newer work, and I'm still developing the visual language. This one might need to go above those pipes. Sure. No, better. Sourcing living organisms for an international exhibition is always a big challenge. So for this show, we had a couple of different strategies. One, we brought in algae from a supplier in the United States. We shipped it quite some time in advance, and it was received very easily. A lot of stress on our part, like worrying, but then it was unwarranted. It was released immediately and it is now happily growing in the studio. I did, however, misread the list of ingredients that are available within the package that I ordered, and we are missing some nutrient solution. But strangely, because Marta is also a bioartist, she has some nutrient solution kicking around. So we're gonna see if we can find that. And if not, I've been in touch with the algae specialist, and he has told me what type of fertilizer we can purchase. The other living component that we're keeping in this exhibition is bacteria. And it's very simple because bacteria grows on all of us. Marta already had some agar. Normally I might order the agar and have it delivered to the gallery, but Marta already had it. So she's actually been making agar plates for me. And then we will probably breathe on the plates, like, or touch the plate. And then it will be filled with microbes throughout the duration of the exhibition. One of the challenges when exhibiting microbes is that they smell bad, and some galleries are really put off by this, and so you have to create many levels of barrier to prevent any smell from contaminating the gallery. But Ectopia already is a functioning laboratory, and smells are part of their regular occurrence, so it is of no concern to me whatsoever. So in preparation for the exhibition to open, I'm going to prepare these petri dishes. And then we're going to leave them inside of the hood for the duration of the show, presuming they don't smell too much, and allow them to grow for audiences to see over the duration of the exhibition. Check it out. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is something I call double containment, and that is the required health and safety precautions for when you're shipping living organisms. And so I like to think about how a gallery could just be like a shipping and receiving zone for these artworks. So I do one level of containment, which is the petri dish that is taped shut. So for shipping, they require a second level of containment. And one of the second levels I like to use are these deep sea diving bags. They're airtight for taking your electronics underwater. And what they do is they provide that second level of containment. So if you drop the petri dishes, they're not going to break on the floor and contaminate the museum. They will not leak smells. And then you have your double containment. I think that some galleries and museums find that very reassuring. If you're working with a gallery or museum that does not feel comfortable handling the petri dishes directly or handling biological waste, then if you put them inside of these deep sea diving bags, they don't have to touch them directly. They can just give them to a scientific organization who will dispose of them as bio-waste at the end of the exhibit.
It was really good. I'm here now.
Do you love it? Didn't it turn out great? I know. All the students, all their cutout pieces, isn't it beautiful?
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, yes. There was just a planter there, so we stuck some plants in it.
Here we are in Lisbon, Portugal, in the beautiful space of Ectopia for Jennifer Willet's solo exhibition, When Microbes Dream. Amazing! Here we are! And we're standing right in front of her new creation, When Microbes Dream, the collage. Do you want to tell us about the process?
Sure. So When Microbes Dream is about the experience of a microbe being a microbe in the laboratory and what I imagine that ecstatic chemical exchanges with all the other organisms in the space. So I collected textbooks and made drawings and printouts and stickers, thousands of them over the last few months. And we cut them all out into little shapes and then we brought them here. And we did a big wall collage that sort of captures that energetic moment.
And if you come closer, you'll see this beautiful living component.
So these are snow globes that have bacteria cultures in them. And then there are some also that have spirulina algae living in them as well. Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been doing some smaller collages, digital collages in my studio. So this was the first time I got to go really big, and I really would like to thank the Ectopia team for their 100 hours of collaging with me on big ladders. I'm very excited about it. I think this is a great way to really make bioart portable, but large scale. And then I love this incorporation of some of the living organisms. And so in the next incarnation, I imagine a lot more of these. So this is a puppet theater that is also a biological safety cabinet. So it creates a sterile work environment where you can do biotech protocols, but then they become visible and like they're on display for audiences, right? And then the other thing I find really interesting about this is this framework has all organisms from my local ecology in Windsor. And so I'm trying to put that ecology within the context of both the cultural, but also as an ecological ecology.
And happening inside, there's still activity, there's still performances happening inside the incubator.
Yes, so the microbes become the performers in this space. So inside this biological safety cabinet are microbes. So we have some petri dishes here that we're growing microbial performers in relationship to collage. So the human is a performer in this space when they're working there, but so is the microbe itself. This incarnation of the installation comes from 2017, but all of the artworks within it are actually things that I've made or collected over many years even before that, maybe going back as far as 2010 or Bioart Camp in 2011. This work is really rooted in this experience that I had as a non-scientist going into laboratory spaces and finding that the lab was not this like cool digital sterile space I thought it would be, that it was like teeming with life, that it smells bad, and that there's human organisms but also like the lab specimens, and then also the inadvertent organisms that come in with you on the bottom of your shoe. And I wanted to create this sort of cacophony experience for the viewer to have that understanding of the lab as an ecology itself. All of my artwork has this sort of like very long read, medium read, and then a very close read. I like to really reward people. I like to hide little treats inside of all of these artworks so that people can get really close and think about the different economies of scale in that space.
And along the same lines, I see you've also created these wombs as part of these animals. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So a lot of lab equipment is designed to replicate mammalian bodies. So for example, we keep cells at like 32, 33 degrees Celsius. That's the body temperature of us, right? So I wanted to make new visions of lab equipment that's, again, not the sort of Western objective gray on gray design, and start thinking about the bodies that we're attempting to reproduce with that equipment. These are collages that were made in the laboratory. So it took about 3 years to figure out all the little technical things that we needed to do to get this GMO bacteria to grow in a certain way inside of petri dishes that also have collage material. And then what we did is, after they'd grown for a few days in the lab to like a nice visible level, then we made physical collages in the lab on the lab benches. And I had a photographer come in and do StatCam photography of the artworks. So they have the same look as the maybe more digital or analog collages you see here, but they're actually photographs of living collages in the lab.
Mm-hmm. And again, this is one of those works where you are intriguing the viewer to come much closer. You want to be at the laboratory table, looking down at it, almost photographing it yourself.
I think I'm very interested in creating these intimacies and these encounters between humans and non-human organisms in the lab. And I do that when I can with the actual organisms, but then also, if they can't be present, I try to create artworks that create that experience for the audience.
And the last question I have for you is, you've created these moments of participation, these moments of interaction between human and non-human forms, but also the exhibition itself is going to be growing for the next 8 weeks. How is it going to be growing?
So most of the works, 3 of the works, have a living component of some sort of microbes or algae in containers. And you're absolutely right, over the 8 weeks they will bloom and they might even die. Like sometimes they have life cycles, right? So like little forests will grow in there and then they'll all fall over. Then it'll get very sweaty, then it'll get very black. Then it'll die, there'll be nothing to see. And then it'll come back again. And so they will definitely be performing for the duration of the show. The other thing is I will wear the Gentleman Scientist costume today, which is, it's an alter ego that I have, sort of a gender bending alter ego. And they are me, but they're also someone else. And they escape time, they come from the past. They're a bit of a buffoon, like a little bit full of themselves and like to tell people about how things are going on, but then also very self-deprecating, and their flaws are made very visible.
And what does it mean for you to have all these works together in this space today?
It's amazing. I love to watch the evolution of the visual language over time. I can really see the difference between these artworks. I can see where things are going, which I'm really excited about with the collage. The other thing I have to say is that it's very heartfelt for me to be here in Marta's space in Ectopia, which is a new space, one of the sister labs from the sister lab events we did last year. I've known Marta for 20 years, and we've come up through the ranks together, and so it is very personally meaningful to be in this space and to exhibit this work with her, and then also to have FEMeeting, to have all these women coming from all over the world to come and see this exhibit and share in that celebration of Marta and her space and the art is beautiful. With a lot of team members. Something like this, the exhibition is going to say it's by Jennifer Willet, but it's actually by a lot of people. So first I would like to thank Ectopia and Cultive Vamush Cultura and Marta de Menege, who is the mastermind of these organizations, for hosting me and providing a whole amazing staff who are all hands-on helping me install the exhibit. So I'd like to thank IOTA Institute out of Canada in Halifax, who is the tour managers, and that includes Mireille Bourgeois as well as Amanda Shore. And then I really need to thank my team, and the list is long, I will get it out. But first of all, we could thank Billy McLaughlin, who has been a longtime artist assistant and fabricator, and I would say most of the works in this exhibition have had her hand on them. I would like to thank Dominica Mediati, who is our project manager and amazing. Jude Abuzena, who really helped with some of the early definitions of these projects in the lab. And then there's a whole other team. So we have here Angela Awada, Leisha Lang, Aliza Tarek, Kadelia Adili, Phil Habashi, Justin Elliott, Michael Lisenkiu, Jillian Hughes, Luke Madaford, Ashley Hemmings, Megan Andrews, Hadia Nadim, and Lindsay McKay. And these are all Incubator Art Lab team members who over the last 3 years have personally put their hands onto these projects. So thank you to all of you. Cool, thank you. Cut.